We are live, Pierre.
Welcome back to the early edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show. This is your coach, Coach Frenchy, directly from the Sunshine State. And we have to go all the way to the West Coast to find co-host Michael Devellano.
Morning, Pierre. We actually had a busy day the last 24 hours.
Sorry again?
We actually had a lot of news the last 24 hours.
I know. You are the man.
So some of the things that happened, the lead thing that I noticed was that your buddy Thomas TATAR signed a 2-year deal with the Devils. I think that's probably a good move for them, right? Like they're trying to give time to the younger guys. We know he can score 20 goals.
You have a voice behind the back.
I have a voice? There's nobody else here. Hopefully there's no echo. Is it in your headset? I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a
No, I heard another voice behind you somewhere.
Are you telling me there's a ghost in my room?
Hold on. I have some things going on around.
That's not me. So this, to me, honestly, like I was kind of surprised.
It was me.
It was you, yeah, because I don't hear anything. So, Thomas Tatar, we know he's capable of getting 20, 25 goals. He's a very consistent point producer. He didn't really get into the playoffs with Montreal, which was interesting during their run. He's always, for me, been kind of like, he's more of a second line player, sometimes because he falls to the third, but he's not like an impact player, but he can play with really good players. I was actually surprised at the amount he got. And I guess based upon being a 20-goal scorer, 4.5 is reasonable, but I thought you would get a lot.
I think for me at that amount is because he got only 2 years. And that's maybe the reasonable behind that $4.5 million. The second thing is a red flag, Michael. If you look about him, if he goes start with Detroit, then after that, he go to Vegas. Then after that, he go to Montreal. Now he's going to Devils. And when you drop a player like him, score an average of 5 seasons at 20 goal plus, and it's every 2-3 years, you know what kind of player he is? He pisses off coach. That's what he is. He
Really?
pisses off all the time the coach because all the crappy turnover he create per game, where he turn around and then he got a goal. And then boom, another crappy turnover, boom, another goal over there. So I heard this because I was listening.
I can see that.
NHL Network, and I think it was Ken Danico or someone like him. Jeez, I don't remember who it was, but he was said like, all right, he can score 20 goals, but the coach behind the bench is going to kill him after the game because he make 2 stupid penalty turnover. And sometimes it's not like you don't have to be a turnover, Michael, in front of the net. It could be a turnover in the neutral zone that create now a 3 versus 2, and then the score. Does it make sense? Like not like he keep the puck right away, but that's what a kind of player. And if you see him, and I realize, you know what, he is right. Because remember when he went to Vegas, he got a big trade over them. I guess they gave him a first-round pick to Detroit for Tatar, and he start, and then he disappear again during the playoff. You have a reason behind that, and that time was Gallant.
That's probably a good assessment. Like for me, he's an opportunistic player. He's smaller, so he can't win battles for the puck. He's looking for opportunities, and sometimes you're right. A lot of what he does is what I call a 50-50 play. And the problem with that is, as a coach, you want 90-10. You want him to make decisions with the puck that make sure that you maintain possession. And he doesn't always do that. I think he's opportunistic. He's a smaller player that survives because of that. He can shoot the puck, but I find that he scores goals that he doesn't create the opportunity necessarily. He's taking advantage of a mistake, but in doing so, you're right. I think he creates mistakes the other way because
I would follow your statement because I think you said a good thing, but I would say also at that time, the prototype of play he is like he's not big, right? He's 5'10" or 185. He think he had good speed and everything like that. Yeah. The problem I get with him is he don't produce on power play where he should because he's really one-way player. It's not like at both ways all the time. So he cannot score on power play. 2 goals last year. You have not many points. And that's the problem I see with him, because he have a chin as a, he's a good skater, he's a good stick handling,
He's
like that. But I thought he would produce more on power play, where he does not, and it's another.
He doesn't.
Not good for him on his resume when you talk about him. But again, can score 20 goals. But when the physicality step up, and he have tendency to disappear for sure.
Absolutely. And I think this was always my argument. Like, I realized people in Montreal saw him when he had big points there, and it was like, oh, there was talk at the time, he's the best player in Montreal. And I'm like, guys, this guy's not a good. Like, he's a good player, but he's not like an impactful player. And if he's your top player, you're in trouble. Like in Detroit, he fit very well with Gustav Nyquist. Nyquist was a similar frame, but Nyquist possessed the puck a lot better. And he would, but they would that would get him opportunities. So they were a good 1-2 punch kind of on the second or the third line. And as he moved up the lineup, it created more and more problems. And I think that's just the reality of it. He's not a bad player. There's not a lot of guys that can score 20 goals consistently like he can. I mean, if you look at, since he came in the league, 19 goals, 29 goals, 21 goals, 25 goals, 20 goals, 25, 22. So he's, you're going to get 20 goals out of the guy. You're
going to get this. You're going to get about 40 points. The problem for me is another red flag, Michael. Devils trouble the last couple of years. They are numbers 25, 27, 28 goal against. So it's not a team really well on the defensive or on the, protect in the park, and they don't get. So they give a lot of goals. That's not helping to get Thomas Tatar on the ice during that time over there. And I think he took benefit of it. I don't say that, but I don't want to. But I think he took advantage to be with Philippe Danault around him. So sometime he maybe create the turnover more, but he don't give a goal there. But that's my point over all this. But it's a 2-year right now, 4.5, a turnover for Devils. For me, Michael, I said this last night, is the prototype is going to die in KHL or SHL on the overseas at 34, 35, 36 years old.
I think he helps them in the short term when they get more and more competitive and their younger guys get better and the pressure's on, he'll become less valuable to them. But right now, like, he serves a great role. Like, if he can play with Nico Hischier, who is a good two-way centerman, and Jesper Bratt is a good, fast two-way player that I don't think Jesper
I had no problem to put him on the first line with Hughes and Sharakovic now.
Maybe, I think that's where he starts to get overmatched, though. Like, you've already got a smaller guy in Jack Hughes. Sharakovic, I don't think is like a two-way type guy. Yanni Kukinen's on that line to get the puck. And that's probably why they're slotting him up there. Miles Wood is another guy who's very similar to Blake Coleman, right? Like, he's a big guy, a little bit bigger than Coleman, but he'll do some gritty stuff and he'll score goals. Tatar, to me, is perfect for the second line. He's perfect. Even for the third line, he'll still get his points. And I think you're right. With Danault, Danault was, obviously defensively responsible, but I don't think Danault's a great playmaker, distributor to the puck. And that's okay with Thomas Tatar.
No, it was just about like that. Danault, what he was saving his life more often on the turnover on the defensive side.
That's why Thomas Tatar did so well. It was such a good fit, right?
He's going to cheat a little bit. He's going to be, but again, he's a good scorer. He's the guy can score 20, 25 goals. So it'll be interesting to see him over there for sure.
So good morning to Bud the Monkey. Thank you for joining us. Get his own sound effect.
On the monkey.
Yeah, and of course, Nicolas, bon matin.
Bon vendredi, everybody. Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks, Kimberly, to be back. Hopefully, your flat tire is fixed and you're ready to rock and roll your day today. She got a flat tire last night, Michael.
Oh, no.
So that's happening. And Frank Zalazar, directly today, Michael, is on your area, by the way. Frank is in California this morning.
Oh, cool.
Visit somewhere. I don't know. He said this last night. So it's Friday, Michael. It's off season. It's August 6th. And I know we're not going to get a lot of people around here. That's all about the next August going to be that way over there. So we expect that. But again, we appreciate for everybody. The 1 hour in the house, we tell you thank you so much to join us. And then also don't forget to click on the likes. That'd be awesome. We will really appreciate. And if you can do that before you leave at some point. And no show tonight, Michael.
No.
No power play. I'm going to be back tomorrow and Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern time. But
cool.
Tonight I have my team reunion of 2 years state championship. So we met because of COVID last year when we won the state championship. We did not have a chance to celebrate because the COVID. Now we do it tonight, and it's funny. All those kids now are at the college or play junior, so it'll be interesting to see that. I didn't see not many of them since like last season, so it'll be interesting to see that tonight. And
Pierre, I'm seeing kids I coach that are not kids anymore. They're retiring.
Yeah, that's crazy to see that, right? So, but it'll be interesting to see them, and that will be the reason why we don't have the show tonight. But the last one was pretty good. The funny thing, Michael, everybody show up at 9:45 for the quiz.
Oh wow, yeah, I think the quiz is awesome.
Like last night, I'll be honest with you, we have about like at least 14 people play the quiz last night, Michael.
That's awesome.
That's funny to see that. Like they love the quiz for now. Patrice Bergeron, super chat. Thank you so much.
Wow, Canadian ladies won gold. Where? Patrice Bergeron, son. Wow, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah, the soccer team, Michael, Team Canada won the gold this morning on the penalty shot at Tokyo. And that's a big news around the NHL, around the country today. I got a lot on the Twitter account, a lot of news about that. So congratulations. I think it's the first time for the Team Canada to win the gold, at least like for what I know. Good to see the Canada's developing, and not only in hockey now, but other sport. And to step up to win the cup, I think that's pretty good to see that for sure.
That's really interesting. So, I mean, a few years ago, they had a real big battle versus the U.S. team. And the one thing you saw about Canada was they were tough as nails. Like the Canadian women were like, there's that one girl, I think her name was Christine Sinclair. And it was like she thought she was playing hockey, man. Like she was a wall. She body checked people to the ground.
We just beat Stefan's member this morning. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the U.S. lost early, though, right? The U.S. is having some psychological problems across the board.
Yeah, I know.
The PSYOP is working, Pierre. They're getting in the U.S.'s head. Oh, we don't have to try so hard.
Yep. Top won again last night the quiz with Mr. Michael Rosenblatt. So that would be good to see him again this morning. My Top won the biggest now become. And then for Patrice have a big game today. Play the final in Colorado. And finally, Kimberly looked like her car fixed. She waited 2 hours. Now she's ready to rock and roll her day now with the car.
So they lost to Canada. Is that who beat them? The U.S.?
The USC, yeah, I think.
I haven't paid any attention. I don't really even care about this Olympics.
I think they won the bronze, but again, I don't know. There's so many things going on.
Man. That is amazing. I'm really excited for that because that, to your point, that's phenomenal development.
It's funny sometimes because I saw somewhere like someone won from Canada I don't know the running or something like that. I don't not the grace, but another one. It could be the walk running. I don't know how they call it anyway. And the guy looked like he's from Ethiopia, but he represents Canada. So I'm a little bit confusing about those stuff like that.
That's Canada, though, right? Canada's a multicultural society. So.
Yeah, it's called Mohammed. He's from I don't know, but it's funny to see that.
Pierre, that's the one thing about Canada. I think that in some ways it got right, which is the idea of a multicultural society. Coming from Canada to the U.S., like there.
You think about this, like I just now see the soccer, Michael. But I don't think you're right about this. Look, the tennis, how they developed the tennis for the last 15 years. On both ways, like on the women and the men. Now the tennis represent very well. Canada is represent very well now in the top. TPA tennis now and professional. So, and then we have Sly on the bowling, still the top 9 in the Canada.
That's awesome.
Good luck, Patrick. Patrice, I wish you the best about it. Thanks again for super chat. Always a pleasure to have you, Patrice, the David Pasnak and the Brett Marchand son. Someone said, like, well, who do you believe the first thing to bring the cup in Canada?
To bring what?
They bring the Stanley Cup. Who do you believe is going to win the Stanley Cup in Canada?
Oh, next? I don't know. I mean, I think it's a mess. I think there's problems with every Canadian team right now. It would not shock me. It's so hard. There's gaps on all those teams, Pierre. I mean,
Well, the problem, Michael, you compete like 17 versus 25, right? So you have right there. It's not easy to win over there. But if you think about one team right now, I believe, I don't know why the Edmonton is not better at what they are, honestly. But the Jet right now, Michael, are a little bit better as the Senator. But in 3 years, Senator is going to have an amazing, great team.
It's they all have potential, right? And I think that right now they're all fairly well run, which you couldn't always say. And there's a weird element in Canada with the politics, right? Like it's like reality TV. And I think that affects how much exposure the players get. And I think that there's a distraction there. And then there's politics inside the organizations that are a little bit weird, right? So I think that affects them, as opposed to you get a Tampa and they're focused on one thing. It's like, let's win. And sometimes you get distracted in Canadian teams because there's news, radio, sports, everything is hockey. So I think there's an element there of that, right? And then there's this angst that is like, you've got to win. You're never going to win.
Yep.
So it's just like, it's a little weird element, right? So I think if you look on paper, Edmonton is, well, they're very close.
He's right about that. Of course he is. It's just like
I think that's the issue, is the goaltending is the final piece. Like their D is improved, but it's not quite good enough, right? Like you would need a career year from a Duncan Keith. You would need a throwback year from Duncan Keith in a number 4 role. You would need Darnell Nurse to keep playing the way he's played so far in the past year. And that's,
I think for me, Michael, is not that. I think for Edmonton is goaltending, and then I would say after that, the bottom 6 over there have that kind of the forechecking, everything like that, to bring that part over there. So I think for me, that would be my biggest concern about that one over there, because they don't have anybody. After that, they are, you know what I mean? Like they don't have that kind of the goaltender where they can bring up all the way over there. So
absolutely. If they had signed Jakob Markstrom, I would say they're a step closer. If they had just gone all in, the contract he got from Calgary was friggin' reasonable. Like, you should have gone the extra mile and got that contract. That was totally reasonable. So to play hardball with the guy that's your missing piece, I think it was stupid. So now they got to find another guy. They just traded away from a guy that could be that guy in 4 or 5 years. So you don't have that guy. They've got to do something. I think they've done some good stuff, right? Like I think they brought in, improved on the forward line. So, but I don't know, is this the best Canadian team? I mean, they've shown nothing.
I don't like the third line. So that's my problem I have with that part over there. The third line is not strong enough to compete. And then secondly, I think the CC contract is too long for what they gave to him.
I don't think he's a good defenseman. He's not going to help them the way they need. I like Fogle. I like Cassian. I like Derek Ryan, but he's more fourth. Josh Archibald's useful. You would like to see one more. I don't know. I really like the way Cassian plays in the playoffs. Like he can be a very useful player. But I think you're right. Like it just depends. Does Ryan McLeod, he looked good last year. Does he end up being that prototypical third line centerman that can contribute a little bit, flex up to the second line? If he does, then your problem solved. If not, they probably got to do something there. But it's not like a glaring hole, right? Derek Ryan's very reliable, and we know he can score if you give him time.
Well, I think if you look about the third line, fourth line, I think the Fogel is good. He set up a good line over there, right? But after that, it's not good enough to compete with Archibald and McLeod yet. They would be like, they need a better, like, you think about Washington, it's Lars Eller over there. You think about Tampa, it's Yannick Gord over there, right?
It's a question mark for sure.
You know what I mean? Like Toronto have Kerfoot at that position over there. So that's my point. I don't say they are bad. That if you want to compete to go like a longevity in the playoff, that's what you need when you get there. I love the Warren for jail over there for sure. If they can get somewhere else, like Derek Ryan is fine over there. Derek Ryan is going to do like what Ned Thompson does. All those 4-line pick up, face off, everything like that. That's a good situation over there.
Yeah, he's useful.
My problem they did last season is like they overexpose the two line, like Tresol and McDavid every 2 shifts during the playoff. It was too much for them. That's what they need to make a little bit balance. And the winner of the Stanley Cup, Michael, have more the balance in the lineup. I think that's what they're looking for. That's what they need about that one over there. Derek Ryan is just like the guys can score 5, 8, 10 goals, but again, it's more about the face-off. I don't know if you can see his face-off or that way, but that's what a title player, 2 ways, everything like that.
His face-off percentage is over 52%.
You see, 52, 52, 56, 58, 55, 59. So that's a good additional player over there for sure. That's what they need. But again, Zach Cashin is fine in the 4-line if he play his role. That's fine with it because that's what kind of line with Matt Martin has, everything on that rate. And then the left side, I'm not remember who he was there, but I think they can improve that line over there. I think that would be helping a little bit more about that. Cajon is not there anymore, I believe.
No, this is old.
No, okay. Sound good.
I think that's old.
Senior RNH management for that long would be backfire. I'm not worried about RNH. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it will be difficult for him because the injury problem they can get with time about that one over there. So for me, that's what I feel like, but the situation with them. So we'll be interesting about that one over there for the but RNH is going to be fine at that moment for sure. Don't miss a lot of game, Michael. If you follow RNH, you have a very good longevity on the
he'll disappear for little stretches offensively. They like him defensively. I don't love him. I've never been a huge fan, but if you compare him to his contemporaries, he's a very good player, and that's a hard player to replace if you let him go. I really wonder out loud, does Vancouver leapfrog? If Connor Garland comes in and does what he does, Podkolzin comes in and solidifies the 3rd line with Dickinson and Pearson. And we know Niels Höglander looked great last year, and he's going to take another step. So even though they missed the playoffs, they're maybe capable, and it really depends on, I think their goaltending is better. Halak and Demko could, it really depends on the upside of Demko, but I think he's better than any of Edmonton's goalies, and they have good forward depth, and I think their D is improved. So they could surprise us. They got Oliver Ekman-Larsson, they brought back Hamonic, they picked up Poole.
The problem is the defenseman, right? They don't have the second defenseman over there. So that's what the problem they got right there. They have too many 3rd and 4th defensemen over there. Hamonic.
OEL is a number 2?
Not really. He struggled so much for the last 2 years. It's terrible what you see him. What?
I think he struggles as a number 1, and I think he was overplayed. If you play him 18, 19 minutes
he was number 2 in Arizona because of Chick Run pick up his spot over there. But again, you're not going to see a big chance with Ekman-Larsson. You're going to see that kind of a 20 point, a 7.25, Michael. That's my problem I have with that one over there. And he's signed for until 2027. So I'll just make a video about the bad overpriced contract. I think that's one over there. So for me, Vancouver, I wish they have a defenseman number 2. That way, that would be better to satisfy their defensemen. That's what they're missing on my book over there.
I don't know. I believe he's a real high-end player that was just overused. I think it'll help him going to Vancouver. He's not perfect. If he was paid $6.5 million, you'd be very happy. His contract's stupid, right?
Hey, it's 8.25, and Arizona picked $1 million on that contract over there.
Right. So if he's a $6.5 million defenseman, you're like, wow, he's really good.
It's just I don't see. I believe his best days are behind him. That's my concern about him.
We're gonna find out. You might, it's possible. I think he wasted them in Arizona. You look at Calgary. I think there's some question marks around Sean Monahan, but otherwise, you've got to say they've improved on forward. I think the Coleman contract, regardless of what you think, if that guy's a 20-goal scorer, you're pretty happy. On D, they lost Giordano, so that hurts. But you've still got Hanfin, Tanev, Anderson, Zadorov, and I think these guys are all in the right chair. Juuso Valimaki can move up this ladder. He'll go over Zadorov. He'll go over, I bet you, Hanfin at some point. And it might be this year because he's a very capable guy on a power play. He's got a good shot. He can skate and make good first pass. And he's big. He's like 6'3". And he's got that little bit of Finnish grit. Shillington's had a hard time, but there's other players in there that can come in. And then you think Markstrom's a pretty high-end goalie. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Calgary turn it around. But I think it really depends on what happens with Monahan.
I'm still not sure about that part over there. That it's the culture, the brand over there with a mix with Darren Sutter. That would be my concern about that one. I don't like Tyler Pittley at the third line over there.
He's not. I think you're right, but I think that there's still two players that can make this roster this year: Connor Zary and Pelche. Two very high-end players. They've had a time to groom them, and Connor Zary could be a top 6, no problem. And he could play center or wing. And then Pelche, I think, is a weird player in that he might be like Dylan Dubé. He might be like a really, really good, fast, skilled guy for the third line that can flex up to the second, but maybe you don't play him on the power play. But either way, those two guys could leapfrog. Like Tyler Pitlick, to me, is nowhere near either of those guys. So if they think that at all out of camp that those guys are physically able to play, I could totally see them impacting this lineup in a short term.
My only problem for what they have, they lose Giordano. That's something that could be hurt for them.
Sure.
And Finn have to step up to pick up his spot over there, right?
I see that.
So I think they miss their defense is not strong.
Well, it's strong. It's strong in that it's deep, but they don't have a number one. They truly don't have. That was their captain. That was their number one guy. He logs big minutes. I think Noah Hanfin's better on the second pairing. So I think
they have a lot of I would say 3-4 defensemen. Right. I think the top 4 were there. They are all 4 and second pair of defensemen. That's my point right there. Totally one of them can slide like a number defense too, but it's really, really not great about that. So I think that's what they are missing a big piece over there.
Actually surprised they didn't draft a defenseman in the first round. So I don't think.
I think you have to, if you don't mind, if you can check all the questions we have, that would be good to go.
Yeah, we put them up. Let's see. So what do you think about PELECH's contract? So we wanted to talk about this. Adam PELECH signs an absolute monster contract. It's 8 years, Pierre, and 5.7.
I love it.
So I think the reality is he doesn't have a household name, but he's one of these guys where you watch him and you realize this is a very, very good defenseman. To your point, when we were talking earlier, he's kind of their number 2 guy. Ryan Pulock is absolutely their number 1, and then it goes to PELECH. They moved out Leddy knowing that they were going to give this guy a big contract. So if you project him, he's 27, so he'll be 35 at the end of this deal. I don't know how it's structured. I feel like 8 years is too long.
It's all 5.75 AAV.
Yeah, but I don't know how it's structured, right? I don't know what is it. Is it front end loaded or is it?
It's all 5.75.
Yeah, so that could really be something that in the later years of this contract you're going to really regret, because this is a defenseman that is more of a defensive defenseman. He's not going to get you a lot of points. He blocks a lot of shots, I think. He's physical. And at 33, 34, 35, you might regret this a little bit.
Well, what happened about this, Michael? If you give him a 5-year contract, you're going to get him a little bit more money. So for him, you save about that one over there. I think for me, it's what he brings on the table. And at that moment, when he's going to be 34, 33, 35, right? The money is going to be now in 8 years, the salary, because you don't know, but the NHL pushed the salary now for the next 5 years higher. And at that moment, he would be a good as a third, fourth defenseman, and almost everybody that at that moment is going to be about $4 million, $5 million. So I think for me, it's a good way. I think Lamario did a good job about that one over there.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't love it. I think it'll be something they'll have to discard later on. And I don't know if did he get a no movement clause? He didn't not get a no movement clause, Pierre.
Nothing. That's what Lamario is. Lamario is going to get.
It's like, nope.
That's how he is. So he's strong about that. That's what I said. For me, it's a good deal for that part over there. And 26 and 20. Hold on. Next year, Michael, it's $1 million for the next 3 years. The salary cap increase of $3 million. And then after that, 25 to 26, the salary cap will be at $91 million. So when he's going to get at 27, 28, the salary cap will be at $95 million. So his salary is not going to be hurt at the end.
Good morning, Zachary Weiss. Thank you for joining us. Enor Tap had a good point here. He said that 6 years would have been appropriate. I do agree with that. I do think that there's value in giving him 2 years when you have no restrictions about moving him. So this is a contract you can get out from under, either through a buyout or by trading it. So if you go that way, at $6 million, you have to increase his salary about $1 million about. Man, I'm so surprised he's in that range, but maybe it's true. He is a very good defenseman. So I think this is probably going to help them definitely in the short term to have him there.
Of course, I agree with you, Michael. The last 2 years, but that's everybody's signed a contract this year, 6 year and plus, right?
Yeah.
And same like Dano, 6 year. You're going to see Dano then after the year number 3 or 4, he struggled. Everybody get there, at least you're 21, 22, 23 years old. But everybody's signing at 27. Like, Lester Guy, Michael, he's going to struggle the last 2 years of his contract. It's just part of what it is.
He might, like he could go over that peak where his body just is, not the same, right? And that's what could happen. So if you look at their D, though, they've got PELECH and PULAK are the 1 and 2. Noah Dobson's absolutely a number 3 that can be a number 2. Very similar to PELECH, but maybe a little more offense there. Andy Green is way past his prime. Aho has never been an everyday D for me.
But that's the problem they have right now, right? They need another solid defenseman over there. I think Mankfield should be in the third line on the second pair over there, right? And Dobson play right now on the third line.
Yeah, and I really like Noah Dobson. Like, he's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he look, 23 maybe.
Yep.
So he's a good RD. He carry on the puck. He's a big physical, a big guy. He's 6'4", I believe, something like that. So I think overall he's going to be great. Give him about 1 or 2 more years. Will be a top 4 easily for the Islanders with power play, skill, everything like that. So I like that one. I think that would be great for them to add another defenseman. They're missing Tavon Toews over there. I think that would be great if they get like a little bit more experience, Michael. I know they have Andy Green over there at the bottom, but I think if you can get like, I don't know, like not say McDonald, but a lower salary at $3-4 million, he can add this kid, that player on the top 4. I think that we're helping them for sure with Manfield or something like that.
And I think like PELECH is 21. So this is a real good young defenseman. I have not PELECH.
21. There you go. I was going to say 22, but I was not sure. So I love this kid. I watched him during the playoff. He have a great opportunity. Again, he's going to be great on power play, Michael. You get him, you get Wallstrom, but it's just, again, they need a defenseman to get a little bit pushing, a little bit farther for sure. Just remember, they trade Nick Leddy over there. That's what the problem they get now at that position.
Yeah, they traded Leddy knowing that they're going to have to pay PELECH. So I'm trying to think of what other prospects they have, but if they have anyone that's on the cusp, and I don't know if they do or not. I'd have to take a little closer look at their cap here.
I don't know what everybody's telling me about this all the time about Huberdeau's leaving. Huberdeau guy is not going to Montreal. Huberdeau is going to be in Florida. Huberdeau is going to get an 8-year contract, about $72 million. All right. Now he's maybe get like 6 million, 5 million at the beginning, whatever they got, 7 million example. Then after that, he's going to increase when the salary cap is going better at about that one over there. So Huberdeau is going to be that one. I don't know. I don't know what his age is. Huberdeau, I have to look about that, but
he's like 20. He's a
28.
Yeah, he's a 92 or 93 or something.
He's 28, exactly. So Huberdeau is going to be at 29 and he's going maybe 30, Michael. So I'm not sure he's getting 8 years over there. I would expect maybe a 6 year at $8 million. I think that's what he's going to get over there. Barkov, Michael, is 3 years younger to him. Yeah. And that's Barkov is I'm getting him at $9.5 million for 8 years. That would be a great bargain. They would try to play the game like the Tampa Bay Dogs. They would try to explain to them, guys, if you want to win here, we need to be sure the salary cap is lower. We cannot go over $10 million, everything like that. So I think for me, that would be the big surprise about. That's what I was talking to them to explain to this. Because remember, it's not only Barkov next year. Vanetro, Achiri, I'm not worried about that part of there. Tippett, they have to pay him a little bit. And then the defenseman, they have only Nisivara. So it's not too bad about the salary for next season. About that, they can pay those two guys I'm talking about. And they open up also Orvis, what he's going to do. Well, Orvis, you have 2 more years, 5.3. So my point to you, Huberdeau, like I said, a 6 year at $8 million because he's 20, he's going to be 30. For Huberdeau, Barkov, $9.5 million, they can get him for 8 years. That would be awesome. He's going to turn around at 34 years old at that moment, make $72 million. Now he's going to figure out at that moment, I don't care to get $7 million, but I want to play with a team winning at that moment. I don't think so. Florida is going to be there at that time at 34 years old.
Yeah, he'll get a retirement contract in Montreal, if anything. He's not going to go during his prime.
No, Huberdeau is not going to Montreal. No. I can promise you that. Yeah. I can tell you that he will try to finish in Florida. The family live here. The kids live here. The brother, sister live here. The dad and mom have a condominium here. He loves to be here. He will accept less money to go anywhere.
Talk about the Dante Fabro contract because he re-signed in Nashville. He's 2 years older than Noah Dobson. Very similar, maybe, but he's not as big, but he's a pretty good 2A defenseman. This seems like the right number for me, 2.4, but it's obviously a bridge contract.
Oh, that's a great number over there. He took the spot at Ryan Ellis right now. I know they bring Philip Myers and the other defenseman, but at the end of the day, they open up the door for him. The Nashville Predators, Michael, are on the reduced salary. So they have to, if you look about the cap friendly, they are about $60 million over cap, I think. So they are below the cap. And that's what I think they got a memo for the owners for the next 2 years. We cannot spend too much money. We have to get, so I'll be not surprised to get something like, I don't know, another $5-6 million lower, but they will get at least a $10 million open up. They have the Tovenen I pay only. And as the team right now on the transition at some point, next year they have a lot of UFA, Ekholm, maybe doing that. So I think for me, and then Forsberg. So that 2 big contracts they have to fill up to the following year about that one. I just don't like what David Boy, whatever they call him, he does for the last couple of years. So the bad contract, bad trade, everything like that. But it's a thing right now on the transition, not rebuilding all the way, but not, also they try to win, but I think they want to satisfy the customer or the fans over there. But at the end of the day, I believe the team, it's right. I think he got a memo. That's my point here behind the bench, behind my outset. Is Longo confirmed Hall of Famer? Did they let the introduction at Aloes next year play Longo is going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. And that's a problem. 7 member in the house this morning. Welcome back, Stephen. By the way, Stephen, Canada beats Sweden, but I don't really care about soccer, but just let you know that about that one. Is Nashville doing what the Panthers did last season? Not really. I don't know what he's made by this, by performance or by the player. I don't think so. I think they are still behind that.
Yeah, Nashville's a weird situation for me. You're wasting Philip Forsberg's career. Matt Duchene is what I've always known about Matt Duchene, which is I was like, I would never sign Matt to that type of contract. He's too comfortable of a player. Johansson, like I liked him, but I don't think he's ever reached the level that we would want. Like he's not an $8 million centerman, but he's a good centerman. Like you like a lot of the stuff he does. He's a prototypical big guy. He can produce offensively, but he goes in long periods where he disappears. So you can't have that from a number one guy. When they made the playoff run, Pierre, he was a beast. He was an absolute monster. All right, I do want to talk about the 2004 prospects. So, and unfortunately, I have a call. So we have about 15 minutes just to kind of talk about who the top players are for the 2022 NHL draft. And I'm thinking, let's see, maybe what we'll do is let's just kind of make a list and talk through them.
Yeah, during time you talk about this, Bud and our tab talk about Huberdeau. And our tab, I can tell you that I will promise you one thing right now. For the next 5 years and maybe more, Aaron Ekblad, Huberdeau, and Barkov don't go nowhere. I can promise you that. It's blue and white, whatever you call it. They are not going nowhere. They are Panthers forever. They can be. They are 3 kids, 3 players. They born together to play in NHL. They grow together here. They are all together, all every day, Michael. In and out, they are on the one condominium to another condominium. They live close, about 1 mile each other on the beach around the Fort Lauderdale. I know them very well on speaking with them a lot. And I don't said want to do maybe one day. The only way they will leave is the Panther offer him $5 million. He can get $8-9 million. But what I know, what I see, right, the way their behavior are, they not go nowhere. They're going to be a Panthers all the way until you reach a Michael age 35, 36, like Perry did, or those guys at that age, they try to find the Stanley Cup. They want to go somewhere else. But otherwise, like Joe Thornton, I don't see those three amigos to go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't see why you would do that personally, but all right. So just looking ahead, these are some of the names. Some of them are more obvious than others to me. Others I think are question marks. I'm not sure how many of these players you've seen play. I think right now for me, the top guy for sure though remains Shane Wright. Yep. And Shane Wright, for anyone that watches, for example, Nathan MacKinnon, I would say is like a clone of Nathan MacKinnon. He's a right shot forward. He can play center. He can play wing. He's stout. He's like 6 foot, 205 pounds. Got a rocket of a shot. His edge work is very similar to a Connor McDavid. He's like kind of a tilty, can change on a dime, and he can pick up speed without slowing down to make moves in traffic. He had a great rookie year in the OHL, and then last year pretty much didn't play, Pierre. But we got to see him at the under 18s where Canada were led by a 15 and a 16-year-old. One was Shane Wright, the other one was Connor Bedard. Yeah. And I mean, if you picked him, if you were allowed to draft him today, I would argue he would have gone first overall in the past draft. I mean, to me, this is a guy that you can build a team around. You can make him, I mean, it might take a little time, just like Nathan MacKinnon did. But for me, like, this is like, I think this is why you see teams like Arizona are just stripping out their lineup and why Detroit's not in a big hurry to get super competitive. This is the type of player you can drop into one of those teams and he can change the course of your team. He can be the final franchise type piece. Yep. I don't know if he's Connor McDavid, but I think he's definitely like on the edge of that realm of Nathan MacKinnon, and it might take a little time.
Oh, he is a type like that. So I believe he's a type close for that one. There, step over like Jack Hughes and the Urshire, right? Those top line, the top draft. I think he's a guy close to more like Connor McDavid. You know, Uh, I know Mitch Marner, he did not go high, but I think he's a kind of player can become like the little bit better to make Mitch Marner, but that's the kind of player I see him.
He's more of a shooter, though. Like, he is a rocket of a shot.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just like the the type of player he is. Like, I don't know the size. He is a little bit taller, like 6'1" right now, but still, I don't see him like. My point was trying to see like he's not Austin Matthews. I was trying to compare. Like, I was looking for Toronto. Okay, he's more like the guy, like more like a Matt Marner, and not. I was not trying to say he looked like Austin Matthews. I tried to compare to someone, but I think he's a one notch below Connor McDavid. But he's a guy who's going to be a franchise player for sure. A Jack Eichel situation.
I think the thing about he's not tall. He's 6 foot, but he's like 205 pounds, Pierre. If you see this kid, he was physically mature, and it was funny.
Yeah, right now he's set up at 161, 187. That's where he is right now, born on January 5th in 2004.
I think he's heavier than that.
Well, that's what they got him right now in the
that it? Well, first of all, I'm actually surprised he's 6'1". So this is one of those guys where he was like, when he was in the GTHL in Toronto, he was a little bit bigger and stronger than everybody. And people were like, well, maybe he's not that good. Maybe he's just big. Wow, yeah, you're right. 6'1", 187. I honestly think he's 200 pounds, Pierre. He's a thick player. And the fact that if he is truly 6'1", then he's a little bigger than I thought. So this is more Connor McDavid size. But I think if you see him next to Connor, he's a thicker kid.
At the end of the day, he's a franchise talent. Is going to be on that. I don't see anybody close to him right now to put him out. The only thing I would say after that is the Russian kid, but otherwise, he's the number one over there for sure.
Well, and are you talking about Michkov?
I'm talking about
Matt Baby.
Miroshnichenko.
Oh, okay. So that's a good player to talk about.
Because the next one is 2020-23 we talk about.
Yeah. So have you seen this player play, first of all?
Who?
Miroshnichenko?
Yeah, I watched him in the Linko. Yeah, doing well. He's another one, same size like Shea, 6'1" at 185. He's a great. He is another Russian player, right? He's a natural scorer, a goal scorer. The guy can do really powerful with his homework edge is great. Skater with feet, his power skating is very good about that one over there. You have a great little shot, and he releases a puck. Michael is really great. Yeah, he has the accuracy is pretty amazing. So he's great. Like he's going to be top 8. But he's the kid a little bit like this year, like Mason McDavis, right? He jumped from all the way at the beginning or all year at 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then he jumped at the third at the end. That's what I'm looking about Miroshnichenko. Yep. Can he pass Brad Lambert? I'm not sure yet, but I see him very easily top 5 for sure about that one over there.
See, when you talk about Mitch Marner, I feel like Brad Lambert is a lowercase Mitch Marner. Brad Lambert reminds me of Lucas Raymond as well, but maybe without the forechecking and speed. So that's why I'm kind of questioning what Brad Lambert is. We know he can slice and dice. He can handle the puck. The power play runs through him in Finland. Just on one sec, like Miroshnichenko is an excellent prospect. I suspect that he'll be kind of top 5, top 6 at this point.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Like I said, but I would not be surprised. Is at the end of the next year, it will be draft above 5. Like he became 3rd, 4, and 5. He has the potential, Michael, to be number 2. I don't know what he's going to reach this, but will be interesting. My problem, it should be Brett Lambert, number 2. But again, he's only 6 foot right now. He's a 2003. He's 180 pounds. Did not do 7 goal last year, first year, but the kid can play hockey. Return that, he's going to be a top 6 definitely in the NHL. So I don't know what he's going to be his season this year. He have to step up because now he's an older player. He's going to play in the Liga this year. So that's the physicality is maybe one, but he have an amazing, great power skating stride every time that.
For sure. And he's a 2003 because he's a late 2003. So he really should have been drafted this year. And if he went this year, Pierre, I don't know if he's top 5.
Yeah, I don't compare like this way, but like Ratty, how Ratty struggle, he go low, right? I don't see Lambert go there, but I wouldn't be surprised we wake up next year and Lambert is number 7, 8 in the draft.
That's what I think will happen to this player. I think that people are going to watch him. They're going to go, hey, he's a year older than everybody, and guys are going to pass him. And
that's my point here. And again, it's he has everything to be number 2. That's my point also there. I don't know how he can do that for sure. Enotap is right. Miroshenko, he has a great hands. He's a really good scorer. He's going to be a great hockey player, like the Richard create all the time. But I agree with you about that one over there.
So right now we're seeing at the Holinka Gretzky tournament, these 2 players, and we've seen them in other tournaments, and we saw them at the World Juniors. Simon Nemec and Yarozlov Slavkovsky would have, in my opinion, gone number 1 and 2, aside from Michkov, in the CHL import draft. But they're both playing professional hockey. They're going to get paid to play in their home Slovakia. These guys are playing against men for the last 2 years. Nemec, he has the potential, I would just say potential, to be the 2nd best Slovakian defenseman ever. If you look at, Chara aside, because Chara is a freak of nature and has had, a Hall of Fame career and won cups, so that's a tough guy to compare to. But if you look at guys like Lubomir Wisnowski, Marek Zidlis, you look at the players that have come out of Slovakia defensively, I think he has the potential to be the best guy ever. He dominates on the world stage. He produces about a point a game against men and against his peers. He's got good size, projectable frame, really smart with the puck, can shoot. So this guy, I think, honestly, might end up being the 2nd pick. That's his potential. Miroshchenko has obviously got the offensive tools, but I think you're more likely to have a longevity without issues of this guy wanting to go in the KHL or something, of him coming to North America. So he's very, very interesting. His teammate Slavkovsky is 6'4", and he plays like a smaller guy. He's got very high-end skill. He's got lots of moves. He can really skate. Will his size play against him? I don't know, because sometimes bigger players have a little bit harder time getting their shot off. But so far against his peers, he's very good. Like, this is another player that, I don't know, like, it just depends on the next season, right? Like,
well, he's really strong. First, he's 6'4", right? 220 pounds already, right? He scored like 13 points last season on the U20. You're going to see him at the World Junior. But the guy go in the corner, Michael, like a dagger. He's big man. He forecheck hard. You're going to be impressed. He have also a great wrist shot. So that's what what they said about him. And I think that will be really interesting what he's going to do this year. But the guy has everything to become the top 5 pick next season, because the size is there. Wouldn't be surprised he finished the year 6'5", honestly. 220 pounds is a right big wing. You love those guys that play like him, right? So it'll be really, really interesting about him. But Slavkovsky, for me, is a player we have to look about that, like Nemec. Nemec is a defenseman. He's right now the best defenseman on the draft at that moment. As a 2-way defenseman, I would be surprised he become the defense 1 or 2 in NHL for any team.
Number 2. I think for sure you're right. I think Nemec definitely will be a number 2. If he's a failure, he'll be a number 3. And his potential is he could be a top defenseman in the NHL. He might. That's why I say he could be the best Slovakian defenseman ever, next to Chara.
Yep.
So he's definitely an enticing. That's where I kind of think he'll go 2nd. But Slavkovsky is teammate. You're right. Like, he's a big man, but he's got the skills of a small player. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, the 2nd defenseman really close to him on my book, or what I have, is David Jerichek from Czechoslovakia. It's another big 1, 6'3" over there. I think that's really the one is really close to him about that one. I don't think so he would beat him, but I think he's really close about. I know he was on your list, Jerichek. So I think that's a good one to mention about him for sure.
Yep. So we didn't quite, I don't know if this is the top 8. I'm not sure what happens after 8, to be honest with you. I think these are kind of the guys I had. Yurov is another Russian guy. He actually scores a little bit more than Miroshchenko. I think Miroshchenko probably has more top end ability, but Yurov's a very good prospect, and I could see him going top 8, no problem. And then Matthews.
By the way, we have another Jack Hughes this year.
Yeah, not quite as good though.
No, I just want to mention this is right there. I think after that you have to go like I like Savoie, but I think one nobody talk about is Miko RT for the USH. He play in the USHL. I think that's a big one over there. You have to look about this. Yurov is great. Seamus Cassie for the USHL with Isaac Howard is the one over there. And then in Sweden, Michael, Noah Aslan. That's another small center. He's only 5'10", 160 at that moment over there. But I think it'll be interesting to watch him at the World Junior. It's coming like that. And you talk about Sweden, I think Elias Salomonsson, defenseman over there, 6'2", 183. That's another thing over there. And finally, Logan Coley for the USHL is a great that part over there. The reason I know them, Michael, is because I got information from a website and then I make a video. So that's the only thing I really know about that part.
Unfortunately, I have to go, but I think these are all absolutely potential top 10 picks. Connor,
it's OHLUND. So yeah, it's not like it's not because you did bad. It's like, but you're absolutely right. So I think it's good about that part. I think one you could add over there is Logan Cooley, Cooley. It's another producer of the USA team. Yeah, that'd be good to keep this for sure about that one over there. But it was a early. It's not like an early morning, but it was like a quiet morning for everybody. Michael, this next week, we did not talk about this, but next week for all week. We do evaluation of the GM next week. So we're going to see what they did. We're not going to go deep talking about the team like we're going to do the evaluation each team, the 32 days in September. But next week for 5 to 7 days, we're going to go maybe take 4 or 5 GM per day. And we're going to go through what they did, the transition, who is in, who is out, and evaluate what they did last season and their off season, everything like that. So we're going to give them a ranking like a B plus by B minus, everything like that. We're going to select 5 teams, and I'm going to send to you later today the 5 teams we're going to talk, or the 4 or 5 teams we're going to talk every day, so we can prepare about this. But I think it's because the off season, Michael. That's what it's time to do it. Of course, everybody can talk what they want, bring their comments. But I think it'll be fun to do that evaluation to know more about their team. So. Look, guys, we appreciate each one of you. Michael have to go, but we want to say to you, thank you so much. No show tonight. We are off tonight. The power play is off. We're back tomorrow morning, special weekend. I'm going to evaluate with a week's resume what's going to happen during the weeks, Michael. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, you're welcome to join us. And then Sunday also, because Sunday night I cannot do it. And then we'll be back Monday morning, of course, at 11 o'clock Monday for another great show, the Hockey Edition. If you are here, don't forget to click on the likes. We know August is going to be quiet, Michael, and it is what it is. That's where we are.
That's okay. It's going to be busy. I'm looking forward to evaluating the teams next week.
Yep, I will send you the list right now in the next couple of minutes.
Sounds good. Have a great day, everybody.
Everybody, have an amazing, great day. I look forward to see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time for the special edition weekend of the Power Play Show.